No, you're there to protect the criminal status quo. And the status quo is getting worse. Let's go ahead and play this clip where they're intimidating us, letting us know we're being watched.
Is Tom. You live just off of 5th Street. Nice car, Tom. Nice house. What's not so nice is you owe Pennsylvania $4,212 in back taxes. Listen, Tom, we can make this easy. Pay online by June 18th, and we'll skip your penalty and take half off your interest. Because, Tom, we do know who you are.
Find us before we find you. And they have these announcements nationwide. More than 10% of Texas has warrants out for them, all the petty stuff. And they can't pay because we're imploding. And they run ads. Roundup coming up next week. Roundup, Roundup. So when they have real political roundups, all the sheep have just heard the term Roundup over and over again. And, of course, again, Bloomberg reported last week that 6 million veterans going back to World War II, when they die, their death benefits are being stolen in agreement with the government and Prudential. So don't worry. You've been given power to shove us around and make us lick your boots because your masters are going to implode this country and carry out a Stalinistic operation. And your masters are going to come after you.
Some folks are born made to wait to fly. Ooh. The red, white, and blue. The red, white, and blue. And when the band plays, hail to the chief, Lord knows, they point the cannon at you. Tell them that your name is
Land of the free, home of the brave. You don't politely ask police what they're doing in a neighborhood with 7 squad cars, police running all over the street. Clearly some type of checkpoint. And by the way, I've only been on that road a few times. It seems I see state police doing stuff there a lot of the time. I don't know what they're doing out there, and I'm not allowed to find out as a scumbag citizen. I'm here to pay the taxes and lick boots. I have mainstream news articles in my stack today where they're giving people jail time and $1,000 a day fines for grass that's over 3 inches all over the country, where they're arresting people for gardens in their backyards. They want to make you criminal. That's what tyranny does. And that state police creature, I said, hey, I'm just asking what you're doing. And he said, hey, you're parked illegally. I said, get out of here. By the way, I wasn't parked illegally. It was a neighborhood. I was parked on the side of a neighborhood, 1-lane street, off a 2-lane street in a neighborhood with a bunch of state police crawling all over it. And then this morning, Jaron goes in to buy a Gatorade in South Austin, and some guy whacked out of his mind is trying to break into his truck. He walks out and says, stop. Starts yelling at him for several minutes. The guy's able to get into his truck, is yelling that it's his car, starts attacking Jaron. Jaron has to knock him out. And then the police show up and say, yeah, I heard you yelling, saw this going on. One of the cops were right there on Lamar and just drove past because there was no money to be made. Look, police, you live in this country. Have you studied Nazi Germany, Soviet Russia? Do you know about countries going bad? You know about what the redcoats were doing to our ancestors when they stood up to them? Do you understand that? I mean, I have mainstream news articles on prisonplanet.com today where all over the country, the federal government and foreign intelligence agencies are compiling lists of mainline Second Amendment groups. And the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette reports that the one group is headed up by a state representative, and he's on the list. And, of course, came out in England that the Parliament is spied on by MI5. The Parliament is the government, but the bureaucracy is the real government. And all these crook politicians are taking the federal training to their police to treat us like trash. So don't say you weren't warned. If we can't save this country and this planet, a lot of it rests on you, police, because you're where the rubber meets the road, and you are shameful when you act like that lunatic. Now, I'll say this. I've had the good luck of not having too many wrecks. in the last 20 years. But the 2 wrecks I've had, one time blown off the road by a tornado, the state police of Texas pulled up outside Fredericksburg. It actually wasn't Stonewall. Were fans of the show, were incredibly helpful, helped pick up the stuff out of the Tahoe that was all wrecked and smashed. My paperwork were very nice and very helpful. And I was in another wreck, and the state police were very nice. I was speeding 10 miles over the speed limit, and a black DPS guy pulled me over in Temple and said, well, you were so polite, Alex, I'm going to let you go. I mean, look, I don't want to be your enemy. I'm sure you'd be nice to go fishing with, Sergeant Baker, but you ought to really look in the mirror and ask yourself why you're out of control. Because I bet your grandparents, I bet Papa Smurf would be ashamed of you. I bet your granddaddy'd be ashamed of you.